All right. I think we got our on and we got audio. For some reason I had a weird cam on. Um, anyway, let me make sure that I'm doing this right. 7 and 8 out capture. This should be, let's make sure this is playing.
Over the holidays, I wanted to find
Yep.
out the truth.
Okay. Okay, let me shut off this AC. So I'm gonna be cleaning and doing a lot of things around here today, so I'll be in and out. But mostly what I want to see here is you guys know I can't resist the Tonewood video, right? This is Dylan Talks Tone. I like to watch this guy's videos on repair and pickup winding and stuff. I'm kind of scared of what he's going to say. So he's reacting to a Tonewood video, and I'm going to be reacting to his reaction because this is how this chain goes. Like, usually it's not the primary source. Most everybody quote mines the primary source. Whenever you see nonsense claims about health or music parts or anything like that, sure, there's charlatans and quacks out there that really put out a bunch of crap, but a lot of times it's just somebody quote mining, or taking a quote out of context or whatever. Somebody who's actually got something legit that they're doing. So I really want to try. I know I shouldn't be messing with this. I really want the virtual green screen thing working. I have like a little green screen. Anyway, work on this later. So let me get the right monitor on. And so this is Dylan Talks Tone. This is a Tonewood video thingy. And you know what? Let me get my stupid face out of here. You don't see this. I know you guys, like, there's some kind of rule that you have to have. I had like a little circle mask. That'd probably be way better. Anyway, let me shut up about this. Let's just play his video and shut me up. So this is a video from Dylan Talks Tone. It's called "Where Does the Tone Come From in an Electric Guitar?" reaction video, and it's a reaction to a Tonewood video, and he puts the link to the original source. So let me tested. Where does the tone come from in an electric guitar? Jim Lil. Okay, so let's see what this is, because now I'm kind of scared where these claims are going. You know how I feel about this stuff. It always is a little bit sketchy to me. But here we go.
What is going on, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. Today we're going to do something we've never done before, and that is a reaction video. We're going to watch somebody else's video, and I'm going to do a reaction to it. I don't usually do these, but I got enough inbox messages, DMs, and stuff about this, and then I went and I watched this video, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is super cool. Super cool. Dude named Jim Lil. I think he's out of Nashville. Great guitar player.
I don't know how to, you guys can tell me how to keep from getting DMCA'd or whatever. I mean, should be transformative, and I interacted with Dylan before. He never had a problem.
Really good production value.
Not that people I have a problem with are necessarily chicken to allow me to speak as well. I have plenty of people I disagree with that have not censored me.
What a fantastic...
That's what adults do. That's what human beings do. Just putting it out there.
Fantastic video, kind of attacking the whole Tonewood myth. Not attacking. He's way nicer than that. I think he's a super nice dude. But I think he really wanted to investigate this for himself. Remember a couple years ago when we did the Telecaster fence post video? This is like that, but like next level. So we're going to break down kind of what he did, maybe if I would have done anything different, and also what it really means and how it really applies to real life. So I tell you what, let's get into this thing.
I want that guitar, right? It's just a pedal steel where it's just a stand on one side, some strings attaching it. Really, that's what your pedal steel is, right? You can make it out of anything. I'm convinced. Like you'd have to bring the evidence that's not true. Anything reasonably rigid.
Over the holidays, I wanted to find out the truth about where the tone comes from in an electric guitar.
Don't
What
we
makes
all?
one electric guitar sound different from another when they're plugged into
This is so recursively meta, right? Where I'm reacting to a reaction to a reaction. Like we got one webcam thingy over here, one webcam thingy over here, and this camera thingy over here.
the same amp. I've read and heard all sorts of ways that every single part on the guitar can make a difference in the sound, but I don't actually know if any of that's true. I wanted to take the time to
This
actually
is
test
great.
them and
This
capture
is
the
great.
results with audio and video so you guys can see for yourself and decide what you think's important too. First thing I did was email 3 very high-end guitar builders whose guitars I've personally
Hopefully not Paul Reed Smith, because we saw that guy laughably. What did he do? He grabbed like a piece of wood and he hit it with a hammer or something. He's like, obviously it's Tonewood. PRS is crazy. I mean, I know that you guys like their guitars, and I'm sure their guitars are fine, but that was the dumbest. That was like a dowser, like finding his own shoes and then declaring victory.
played and enjoyed very much. And I asked them the question, what 5 factors in an electric guitar make the most difference in the amplified sound?
I'll tell you. Pickup. Where is the pickup? Scale length of the guitar, I think. I mean, I know we keep testing that, but pretty sure. At least on a playing level for sure. The thickness of the strings, though, every test I did, I can't be 1,000% sure that I hit it exactly the same. I mean, it ended up backwards from what I thought, from string thickness versus tone, but and volume for that matter, and action for that matter. But let's see what these guys are talking about.
Here's how they responded.
Okay, so first of all, let's break this down. Obviously, these are people that he respects, probably people that we respect.
All right, so let's take a look at this. I mean, I have so much to say, but actually, let me see what Dylan says, because maybe this video doesn't need to even be made.
You'll see the guitar that he uses later in the video. It's not cheap stuff. It's really good stuff. So, first person, body wood, neck wood, pickups as the microphone and tuner for the previous two.
What a joke. I really want to know who said that.
Obviously, already we know this is wrong because pickups are not microphones. It's not.
Pickups can become microphonic. I think there's a reason I like this Dylan guy. I think he's about to. Yeah, let me just.
How they work. Electric guitar transfers energy in a completely different way than an acoustic guitar, and it does not work like in a microphone. So already you're kind of going down the wrong road with what you think is a priority here. Hardware, bridge, and tuners contributing to the tone. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, right?
Are we sure? I mean, yeah, if it dampens it or something and it won't sustain as long. Are we sure? Like that's one. I'm not gonna die on this hill. I'm just asking, are we sure about that? I'm not sure that we're sure about that, actually. Definitely changes the tension feel, of course. Like you could, well, the scale length changes the tension, the hardware in terms of the string. So you didn't even put string in there? That's interesting.
I guess finish is left. We'd like that to be thin and hard. We don't want anything soft, stealing vibration that we work so hard to send into the wood. This is a huge thing, man. People get all into finish and the wood breathing and the hardness of the finish and stuff like that. Okay, we'll just leave that one alone. The next person says the neck.
I like this. I'm a lot happier with this Dylan now. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta take a phone call. I'm gonna keep this playing. Hello?
The tone follows the neck more than anything. This is a big one that a lot of people say. They say that the energy going through the guitar. Blah.
Sorry, I'll be right back. Hey, sorry, she has a Hey, sorry about that. Okay, let me this is sorry, I have a real well, not a professional YouTuber.
Blah blah, the neck joint, etc. I'll just leave that. Bodywood, weight of the body, bridge saddles, and pickups at the bottom of the list. Interesting.
Tone follows the neck more than anything. Tone follows the neck more than anything. You know, I mean, in some way you could say that's true for sure. If scale length is really as strong as a factor as I think it is. I think it is. I'm looking from mask. But yeah, pickups at the bottom. Weight of the body. I bet you one of those Gittlers doesn't weigh much, or maybe it does. I don't know.
Then this guy on the bottom, I kind of like this dude. I don't know who he was, but I like this dude a lot. The player. Duh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the right one. I promise this wasn't me, because I probably wouldn't have even put the construction thing. So the player. Yep. Although Glenn had a video that kind of showed something about that is not quite. Yeah, we could argue about that. The guitar's pickups and other electronics. Yep, that's about where I'd end it. The guitar's hardware, I'd say, like, the scale length, strings, and stuff like that. I don't know about the bridges, but I think Dylan's probably done tests on that.
Absolutely, for sure. Next, the guitar's pickups and other electronics. Obviously, the guitar's hardware makes a huge amount of sense. The construction of the guitar, chambering of the body, and the guitar's scale length are examples. This is really important. And then the wood and the materials that the guitar is built from. Okay, so this is really cool. This is on one page, this is probably 90% of all the guitar myths that people have come up with, or people that have stuck in their heads about what they think makes good guitar tone, is pretty much on this one graphic right here. And this was awesome of Jim to be able to put this together.
I was surprised at how different their lists were from each other.
Me too.
These factors in mind,
Inconsistent.
I needed
Because it's not science. Because most of them are full of crap, and they're sommeliers or Viscount, whatever the things are. The guys that claim to test wine and can't tell red wine from white wine or whatever.
a test
Very
guitar
inconsistent.
that I could hack up and change parts on without feeling stress. So I bought a kit for $100 and put it together.
Great soldering iron. I've got one of
I
those.
tested it against
I still got to get a new iron. Is that the same one? Is that the Hecko or whatever you guys were talking about?
my Tom Anderson telly because almost everything about the Anderson is different than the parts caster.
I can't really tell a good Strat or Telly or whatever from a bad one. I mean, they do basically the same thing.
Right off the bat, these guitars sound a lot different,
The
right?
only difference here, and with any test in this video, is the guitars. Everything after the guitar is identical. And everything before the guitar, so the player, the picks, the strings, the spot on the strings where the pick hits, how hard the pick hits, how fast the pick hits, all of that is controlled as tightly as I can. So
which is
the
very
only
People will be
difference is
critical
the
of how he does this.
This is where all the guys.
But there's only so much you can do to
This list is
duplicate
long,
this
but
as a
it's
human
fun,
being.
So I started chipping away at it. The first thing I did was replace the pickup in the parts caster with a Seymour Duncan vintage stack and tested that. And after testing that,
Totally changed the
to
guitar.
Anderson,
Totally
which also
changed
has a
it.
vintage stack.
Still different. Still different.
Then I tried a pickup height
Way
test.
different.
The pickup was set at kind of a medium level, so then I cranked it down really low and then up really high to see if that made a difference. After that, I continued forward through a bunch of tests, including sanding the headstock down to a normal shape.
No difference at all.
having a loose versus tight neck joint. I tried brass saddles versus...
That was one of my favorite ones. The peg head size and the loose neck joint, because people go on and on and on and on about that.
What about
Is there a difference in the sound?
What about the mass?
We'll get into that later.
I always wonder if that mass stuff is true.
using a traditional thin steel ashtray bridge instead of the longer, thicker steel bridge that came with the kit. I tried top loading the strings versus putting the strings through the body.
Almost no difference.
And I tried using a strap bridge with no plate. When I did the no plate test, the crude pickup mount I fashioned wasn't very stable, and I couldn't keep the pickup in one spot.
Wow, this guy really
The differences
does
I noticed
everything.
even
I like
during the
this
same
guy.
take based on tiny amounts the pickup was moving frustrated me because I couldn't accurately test the strap bridge, and I hadn't really been paying close attention to how close the pickup was to the strings. So I started to wonder whether the tests I had done were even valid, and if any difference heard between the bridges
really
or
like
the neck
this guy.
joint or the headstock shape was just from the pickup being slightly different distances from the strings before and after the modifications I had done. This came to a head when I was testing necks, and I'd put the parts caster neck on my blue Strat copy to see how much difference an unfinished maple fretboard neck had from a finished rosewood fretboard neck. The heel angle didn't exactly match, so the action was ridiculously high, and I made the prediction before testing that with the strings so far away, the tone would sound weaker no matter what the differences in the necks were.
The neck pocket's wrong, the angle's wrong, so it all kind of makes sense that this would be
So I asked
wrong.
myself, what if I militantly matched the distance from the pickup to the strings?
Ding,
I got
ding,
my
ding,
feeler
ding, ding,
gauges and
ding.
measured the distance from the low E string to the pickup and the high E string to the pickup on my Anderson.
Now the bridge,
and
too,
matched
though.
it as close as I could on the parts caster. Then I tested it.
I don't know how to play any of this stuff.
This
All right, so now we have almost an identical. Sorry about.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so get back to this. Let's see.
The screen stop, Jim, if you watch this. Kind of awkward. Anyway, absolutely, almost completely perfect tone match between these two guitars at this point. Could we get super clinical with that and pick it apart? Absolutely. However, we're going to talk about why we won't do that after this, and why it's irrelevant to do that. But pickup height, pickup height, pickup height. Number one thing. And making sure that the pickup is matched to the other guitar has made the number one most biggest difference in all of these tests. There were little differences along the way, but the number one biggest one was pickup height.
was a turning point for me. There were a lot of things different about these two guitars, and not a lot that was the same. At this point in testing, here's a list of all the things that these two guitars had in common. I became more interested in testing the things that were on this list, and a big one was the guitar body. What if I took a radically different approach? Could it sound the same as my Anderson?
Now it gets
We're out
interesting.
in the barn, and it's time to pick a new guitar. So. This one looks good to me.
He didn't even tap test it. I call
Because
BS on the
that's
whole
Paul
thing.
Reed
He
Smith,
didn't even
right?
tap test it at all.
Yeah. Because he's not Paul Reed Smith.
This is fantastic.
This is the 2x4 guitar. It was made from a piece of scrap wood bolted to a neck from a 72 reissue thin-line telly. The neck has a thick finish on it and a 3-bolt neck joint. The neck radius is 7.25 inches. Steel saddles were installed in place of the brass ones on the bridge. The strings are top-loaded. The pickup was wired directly to the output jack with no electronics in between. But it had a Seymour Duncan vintage stack pickup just like the Anderson, and the height had been precisely adjusted. So I tested it.
Different. Big difference. Big difference.
I couldn't get it to exactly match. I thought maybe the bodywood does play a role, or maybe it's something to do with the neck finish, but I was
No.
hearing a harsh top end, so my thought was that maybe it's because I wired straight from the pickup to the output jack and didn't include any electronics to
Ding,
bring
ding,
the
ding,
highs
ding.
off to ground. So I installed electronics.
Okay, so that last one, where he plays like those triplets going up, the tone is a little bit different. And I watched this a couple of times, and I think the biggest reason here is his hand position. I think he has to hold the guitar differently. All the other tone samples in this group, 2x4 versus guitar, are very, very similar, except for that one. And I was trying to figure out why, and I really think it's because he has to hold the guitar kind of funny because it's a 2x4. Which makes a big difference how you hold a guitar. That's your hand on the neck is a big thing. But listen to the rest of it. The 2x4 versus the regular guitar, near as makes no difference, sound the same. And I know that many of you are jumping through the internet right now. Yeah, but blah, 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 compression, effects, blah, clean, blah. Okay, we'll get into that afterwards, why that makes zero difference to this test in real life, and why what he did is absolutely genius. We'll talk about that. So calm down for a second. We're getting there. This is getting better and better by the minute.
Yep.
This was the bingo moment for me. I had the data.
Absolutely.
I captured it on video. You
Absolutely.
just saw it. At this point, here's what the two guitars did have in common.
Now wait a second. Now, am I not getting something? Like it seems like I should get this. What am I getting wrong? I know I'm a little bit distracted trying to make my circle mask, but it still shouldn't be that much. Let's see what's going on here. Oh my God, I did it again. No, I didn't. Okay, there we go. Okay, so same tuning, same strings, same scale length, generally normal guitar neck, same pickup distance to string, pickup distance, position along the pickup slant angle, effective volume pot values. So you got the electronics the same. I think he's got the pickup position the same, not just the height, because that's not the only thing. It's got a, the actual distance from it to the bridge, and the bridge to the everything else. There's a lot of stuff here.
Almost
Pretty
nothing.
small list. I was
Almost nothing.
satisfied with my research and ready to stop, but I had this voice in my head of all the players and builders out there who have thought about electric guitar a certain way for much longer than I have, and that seeing a 2x4 plank guitar still might not be a grand enough gesture to push past deeply rooted beliefs. So I went even farther for one
They
last
still
test.
won't go past deeply rooted beliefs because people are going to believe, oh,
This is
wait,
the air
what?
guitar. I made it out of a bench and a shelf. My dad made the bench in 1990 for repairing motorcycles. The shelf is upside down, sitting on 2 chairs, and weighted down with a pair of Honda engines.
So it's a proper vintage
The ends
bench.
of the shelf are braced against
Proper
the bench
vintage
with
engines.
metaphors, so the strings don't pull the shelf closer to the bench when tuned up. The headstock is a piece of wood with tuners put in it.
Love
The
it.
nut is the bottom half of a metal locking nut meant to go with a Floyd Rose type bridge.
Love it.
25.5 inches away are the steel saddles.
Oh man,
on the
and show you all the people who always talk about how horrible the tone is if you use one of those Floyd Rose lock nuts, man. That's just completely destroying your tone. So, yeah.
steel top-loaded bridge
This is
with a Seymour
fantastic.
Duncan vintage stack mounted in the plate, and all of that screwed into the bench. The pickup is wired to a disembodied tele control plate with a 250K volume pod.
Sounds like a horror
This
movie.
is wired to a jack, and a guitar cable goes from the jack straight to my
Probably
keyboard.
is to some Tonewood purists.
The air guitar was tuned to open D, and so was my Anderson Tele. I matched their pickup heights and strummed an open chord on both multiple times on the same spot on the strings.
It's picking way closer to the pickup on this one.
Here are the things that the Anderson and the air guitar had in common. Tuning, strings, scale length, pickup distance to strings, pickup position along the strings, pickup slant angle, and effective volume pop value.
Okay, we're going to stop it right there because I think to get his kind of final view on all of this, you should go watch the rest of his video. There's just a couple of minutes left of it. Okay, so audio quality, video quality might have been a little different on that one just because the way we have to record and screen share and all that stuff, I do it through my live streaming software. So anyway, so let's chat about this a little bit. First of all, let's go through some of the
Oops, I guess I missed.
the changes that he made that were very, very subtle. So we start talking about peg head size. We start talking about stuff in the neck pocket, which was fantastic. He put bubble wrap in the neck pocket. Can you hear a difference between those two things? If you watch it over and over, you could probably start to pick out stuff. But in passing and just listening to it, no, totally not. I mean, it's fine. It's totally fine. Then the other thing that people are going to get into is, well, yeah, but he wasn't playing clean. His amp was always a little bit dirty, which it was. He was playing through that car, and it was. But the thing is, it was a Seymour Duncan stacked pickup. Those are hit an amp really, really hard. So unless you have like a 100-watt amp or a 50-watt amp set certain way, it's going to be tough to get that 100% clean anyway. And why it doesn't matter at all. So then he started trying it with compression and with overdrive with was it Nobles or something? Overdrive. And everybody's like, yeah, well, it all sounds the same once you put overdrive to it. People say that all the
What's the
time. I
point?
think it's a bunch of crap. And here's why. Because it's how you really play the guitar. You don't play a guitar in a lab. You play it on a stage. You play it.
I gotta say, I went into this thinking, and I probably played way too much of this. Hopefully I don't get DMCA'd or something stupid. I went into this a little bit scared, and I'm not sure why. I think I've always heard rational stuff from this guy, but I went in a little bit iffy, and but it sure seems like he knows what he's talking about. So, yeah.
In the studio, you play it and you make a sound that you like. The guitar doesn't have to sound like another guitar. It doesn't. If you have two guitars that sound exactly the same, you should just have one guitar. There's no point in making two guitars sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
But for the scientific purposes of this, he's trying to do it, I imagine. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would imagine that he structured those tests in the way that he is comfortable playing and kind of what his sound is, what his ear hears. Like, that's probably his basic clean tone, is that Tom Anderson through that car combo.
I really want to know who these who the guitar builders were that gave him those lists. And
bet if you were to chat with him about his rig, that's probably the amp and combo that he's familiar with. Kind of like me with my SG Junior into like a Princeton or something, you know, a clean Fender amp. That's like kind of my thing. That's what I start with before I start building.
I have a Gibson.
So it's something that he's
I
familiar
don't
with.
have a
It's
Gibson.
his sound, and that's what he was able to.
I have some ESPs. I actually do have a Fender. I bought a 5-string Fender bass for some crazy reason. It's at a local store, and I have a couple ESPs. I have a Carvin. I mostly play probably these Agiles. Really like this guy. So my scalloped. Oh, my guitars are scalloped, except for that bass. I haven't really done anything to that bass. That's kind of sad, actually.
To find. When we start to listen to this stuff, a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but here's the part. Yeah, but I can kind of hear a little difference between, but we don't listen to music that way. We just don't. You do not sit there with headphones, and if you have to listen to something so hard and be like, okay, I think I kind of hear a difference if I.
Yeah, this is my thing. Is if when does it reach the threshold of perceptibility? And one of the things we keep asking is, can we even hear it? Can we even hear it? Good. Because that's great. Because if you don't hear it at all, forget trying to describe the phenomenon. It's not there. If you can't hear it. But, what if you can hear it? Does it make a difference even if you can hear it? That's kind of important too. Think about masking and stuff like that.
Then are you really hearing a difference? If you plug in a guitar and you're like, that sounds kind of bad. Sort of like at the beginning when he had the kit guitar with the kit pickup in it, with the pickup height all wrong, and it was like, oh yeah, that's a huge, like, whoa, right? Obviously, that's going to be where you're going to start to hear those things and where it really makes a difference. Once it gets to the point where we're so clinical that we have to listen to it with headphones in a controlled environment 5 times before we can really start to pick something apart, and you're going to be like, well, you just don't have the ear.
Yeah. They tell me that. Remember I used to always take the pictures or do the video in front of a stack of like bajillion-dollar mic preamps? Because they always used to tell me, if you ever heard one of these things in real life, you would change your tune. I'm like, nope.
We all have different ears. We all hear different things. But the thing is that if you are that clinical about this, then are you a guitar nerd or are you a guitar player? Are you like a guitar nerd or a music?
I don't mind people testing stuff, man. Let them test. No, you're right. Like if you want to talk about guitar players and stuff, this isn't helping you. It's just, at least helping not spend your money is a good thing. But I don't mind people testing. That's for damn sure.
I mean, why are we even here? Like, what are we even doing? We're playing guitar because it's playing guitar. It's having fun, not tearing apart somebody's tone, right? And so that's why I think it's kind of funny to dive into all of this. I love what Jim did here because this is literally, for all intents and purposes, for normal people, which is 99.9% of people who listen to music, except for that one guitar nerd who's trying to check out your pedal board and look down on you for the type of gear that you play.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys want to listen to another 2 minutes of this. This was it's actually a really good video. We should just watch the. I thought I gotta confess, I thought I was gonna be doing a knockdown drag out here because he was gonna do some crazy Tonewood thing, but not really.
99.9% of people will watch his video and go, "Oh yeah, it sounds great. It's fine." I'm kind of in that camp because not because I can't hear the difference. Not because I couldn't pick it apart if I wanted to, but because of what's important. So what is...
He's making a claim here that he's hearing a difference. Is he really? Is he really making that claim? And is he hearing that difference? I don't know.
Is important. The pickup is massive to the sound of a guitar. 100%. Above that even, before you ever replace pickups, we're talking about pickup height and making sure that it's adjusted to your liking.
Yeah, think about how much difference it makes to move a microphone a tiny bit. And think about how much smaller the world of the pickup to the guitar string is compared to your microphone.
To get the tone you want, chances are you'll get mostly there with just that. The guitar setup. If the guitars were set up completely differently, like the Strat neck versus the Tele neck, then it would have been terrible and the guitar would have sounded terrible, and that wasn't even a relevant test because the setup wasn't right. Setup, pickup height, and pot selection to make sure that you didn't have the wrong pots and cap and stuff in the guitar. 100% the most important things. And the player. I mean, the player. The end. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you because I just think it's really cool. I think it's Jim did a fantastic job.
That sounded really
100%.
good.
And I should say that I actually reached out to him in an Instagram message and I was like, dude, I'm going to do a reaction video to your video because this is fantastic. You are a genius and I want to break it down from a technical perspective, how I feel about it anyway. Get in the comments and chat about it. Be nice, obviously. But this is fantastic stuff. Make sure you check out the rest of our videos. The end of the week, we've got gear news on Wednesday. We've got a live
out of here. Yeah, I guess go check out Dylan Talks Tone too. I'm gonna go check out this other guy's channel.